You may say that Barcelona probably had a very bad performance against Real Betis, but for Barcelona to beat Real Betis 2-1 with Lewandowski scoring and also Raphinha scoring, this is very impressive. We're talking about a side, when it comes to Real Betis, that has been ranked as one of the best defensive teams in La Liga. Real Betis right now only allow about 0.8 goals per 90 minutes. They are in the top 3 best defensive sides of La Liga. And so again, you may say that Barcelona probably had a bad performance because they only scored 2 goals, but let's have some context here. Let's talk about who Real Betis actually is. They are a great oiled machine. Real Betis are also in 5th place when it comes to clean sheets in La Liga. They have a total of 8 clean sheets, which is very impressive. And so for Barcelona to come out here and not have their best player, which is Dembele, and to still score 2 goals past Real Betis, and again, knowing what Betis have done this season with Pellegrini, is amazing. And so this performance was spectacular. In my opinion, we have reacted well. Yes, there were very intense moments, and especially in the last 10 minutes. And for the first time, when I saw Barcelona win 2-1 after we saw Koundé score that own goal, I was like, you know what? Yes, Barcelona probably have an own goal. Yes, Koundé probably scored that own goal. Maybe there might be some doubts, but I don't think Barcelona is going to be losing tonight. Why do I feel like this? I feel like this because I know that this squad is in good hands, and especially under Xavi Hernandez, which is why I was not too nervous. Like, yes, it was in a way, it was nervous. It was very nerve-wracking, but I did not have the same feeling like I did when I saw Ronald Koeman's Barcelona or Quique Setien's Barcelona or Ernesto Valverde's Barcelona. I never had that doubt within these 90 minutes. In my opinion, I felt more secured. I felt like Barcelona had the game in their hands, which is why I said, okay, even though we're winning 2-1, even though I know Real Betis can easily make this 2-2, Barcelona have total control. So these were massive, right? Massive 3 points. And also another player that I do want to shout out is Alejandro Balde for coming out so big in tonight's game. He did record an assist against Real Betis, and because Alejandro Balde has been providing things like this, I want to say one thing. Balde is no longer making a difference when he has the ball from deep areas and he's making that drive moving forward, right? He's no longer that type of player that can do things like just like that, like just doing that specific thing. Alejandro Balde is a player now that can do that, right? Drive with the ball, but also be a player that can receive the ball in the final third in dangerous areas or in the opposition's box and really make a good decision and provide an assist. This has been something that we have been talking about over the past year. I have said that Alejandro Balde is a player that knows how to get away from deep areas when he's being pressured. He can drive with the ball and go into the final third. And then I also talked about how Jordi Alba is a player that can be a reliable one in terms of receiving the ball in the opposition's box. So I was like, okay, Alejandro Balde has this and Jordi Alba has that. But now Alejandro Balde has what Jordi Alba has, which is receiving the ball inside the box or just outside the box of the opposition and making an assist. And he knows how to make the correct decisions. He knows how to cross. You can easily tell that Jordi Alba has lended Balde some advice on knowing who to look for in the box, which is why we saw Balde get the assist and find Raphinha in order for Raphinha to score the goal. So Balde was amazing, and Balde also won the MVP of this game, which was again another great thing to see. Now look, in the beginning of this game, like in the first 45 minutes, I really felt like we were missing Dembele, and it showed in the first 45 minutes. Like when we saw Barcelona try to counterattack, when Betis was trying to track back, but they really couldn't. We're like, oh my god, like this is the perfect situation for Dembele to be in, is to like make these counterattacks, attack those open spaces. But because we had players like Pedri, Gavi, sometimes Frankie de Jong, sometimes Lewandowski, sometimes Raphinha, they're not the fastest. I mean, like, yes, they're fast, but they're not that fast as Dembele. Like, can you imagine Dembele's speed taking on those open spaces that Betis were leaving in the first 45 minutes? So I was like, this is the perfect game for Dembele. We're really missing this player. And in the first 45 minutes, the one thing that really did annoy me was Raphinha. Every time he received the ball, he lost so many balls. Like when it came to like him trying to place a pass to either Frankie or Gavi or Lewandowski, it was always misplaced. And I'm like, dude, like just relax for a bit. Like, can you just lift up your head, try to analyze the situation and pass the ball correctly? Like, we can't continue to like work very well in our defensive third, making great passes for Frankie to receive the ball, only for us to lose the ball in the opposition's half because Raphinha was trying to cross to like whoever, and then the ball ends up being in Real Betis' possession. And then there were sometimes like moments where Raphinha did not even run and he was sitting very deep. We can even look at the graph here, like on the average position of the first 45 minutes, there was no really like real wide player that was like ready to receive the ball and to attack those open spaces. We never really had that. The highest player was Lewandowski, and Lewandowski could barely run. But I started to see the ways this Barcelona team were trying to progress and move the ball forward, because if it wasn't Raphinha, sometimes we had either Frankie receiving the ball from the defensive third, driving with the ball, or sometimes we saw Pedri and Gavi receive the ball between the lines, which is between the defensive line of Real Betis and the midfield line of Real Betis. And then every time Pedri and Gavi received the ball, they always looked for Lewandowski, and they looked for that pass. And if Lewandowski wasn't open, Alejandro Balde was open out wide. So we're like, okay, this is probably going to be our main idea. Again, if it's not going to be Raphinha, if he's not going to be the one taking on the ball, driving with the ball, making those crosses inside the box, we're just going to be looking for either Pedri, Gavi, or Frank. And then when Barcelona successfully did have the ball and they were going inside the box, and sometimes when we saw Real Betis try to header the ball away, Frankie was always there to help, right? To recover the ball immediately and to lend it to someone like Sergio Busquets. That was one of our ways to like really try and find that first goal. So props to Frankie de Jong for helping defensively and offensively. He also had a really great game, very leveled with Alejandro Balde in terms of surprising performance. Now, as we went into the second half, we did not really see a lot of changes, but we really needed to score, right? We wanted to win in this game. We saw Pedri take a shot. It was blocked by one of the goalkeepers. By that time, I was like, Pedri could have had like a hat trick by now, because he had an opportunity in the first half when he took down about 2 players easily, right? And he could have just scored that goal. And then he had another shot, an opportunity in the second half that could have also been another goal. So it could have been like an easy 2 or 3 goals for Pedri against Real Betis. And he also created a great chance for Raphinha. It couldn't get any easier for that. Pedri gives Raphinha the easiest opportunities and the easiest setups. But in the end, like I have said before, we saw Raphinha receive the ball sometimes, and then he just wastes that opportunity and like completely misplaced the pass and puts it somewhere else. And I'm like, dude, like, again, just relax, okay? Just relax. Like, you don't have to like overthink things. Sometimes you just have to wait for the players to arrive in the box and make the cross, and that's it. Now look, on the 65th minute, we saw Raphinha score, and I was so happy for this player, because the one thing that Raphinha needed was confidence. I want to see Raphinha succeed at Barcelona. I know, and I'm very well aware that I'm talking a lot about Raphinha and his performance and how he has not been playing well. I'm not trying to hate on this player. I want Raphinha to be excellent for Barcelona. I want him to be in the top 5, top 10 best wingers in the world. I want this player to succeed. But, you know, like when I saw Raphinha score that tap-in goal, I was like, yes, of course he has to score that goal. Of course he needs to put that ball in. Many were saying, look, Kevin, I told you Raphinha was one of our best attackers. Like, yes, you're right. Like, of course, Raphinha should be scoring that goal at the end of the day. That was like the easiest setup in the world. The only thing he had to do was to put the ball inside the net by tapping it in and like just touching the ball. So of course Raphinha should have scored that opportunity. I only expected him to get the first goal. And you know, like with Raphinha making these type of like performances and not really playing well, not really being involved in the overall play in terms of like what Barcelona's trying to do with Pedri, Gavi, Lewandowski, and also like players like Sergio Busquets and Frankie de Jong, a lot of this is reminding me of how Griezmann used to play back then, back in 2019, back in 2019, 2020, where we saw Griezmann be very absent in certain games. Sometimes we saw Griezmann create an opportunity, but it wasn't really the best. And out of nowhere, Griezmann ends up scoring, or out of nowhere, Griezmann ends up with an assist. The same thing is with Raphinha, right? It's very interesting to see things like this play out yet again, because now I want to see what Xavi's going to be doing with this player, now knowing that he is getting something close to like Antoine Griezmann. I want Xavi to really work with Raphinha and make him understand that you need more involvement and more efficiency in Barcelona's attacks. But that would do right. Whatever Raphinha did, I would take it, right? I'm very happy for this player, and hopefully Dembele can come back as soon as possible, because man, let me tell you, is Dembele such a difference maker for Barcelona. I felt like if Dembele was here, this could have easily have been a like 3 or 4-1 win. So throughout the second half, we saw Barcelona defend enormously well. On the 73rd minute, I want you guys to go look at this. Like if you guys are gonna like rewatch the game, or if you guys have not watched the game, you guys are planning on watching it later, like after work or after school, go on the 73rd minute exactly, and you can see Barcelona tracking back so well. We saw Frankie, Busquets, Koundé running for their lives when Real Betis were on the counter. It really did remind me of how Atletico Madrid used to defend about 3 to 4 years ago under Diego Simeone. So I was like, wow, what a way for Xavi to set his players mentally and physically. And Barcelona did not back down, right? Kind of like what I did say in the beginning of this video. No matter the circumstance, no matter what Barcelona were doing, whether they were tied 0-0 or winning 1-0 or winning 2-0 or winning 2-1. No matter the circumstance, Barcelona never backed down. And Barcelona were able to find the 2-0 win with Lewandowski scoring the goal. It was not the best performance from Lewandowski. He could not control the ball even to save his life. I have no idea what Lewandowski is doing right now, but I feel like that 3-match ban really took a toll on him, and he just needs to find the rhythm. Now, later in the game, we saw Koundé score an own goal, and I'm like, dude, like, I swear, if Real Betis comes back and like they make a 2-2 scoreline, I would be so pissed, because Barcelona did deserve to win this game. But you can easily tell that Koundé was just so tired, right? He was so tired because of how many times he had to like track back, even though, like, yes, it was amazing. I knew that it was very taxing on the body for many of these players. So, you know, Koundé did score an own goal. Real Betis were trying to look for that 2-2, but Barcelona did not allow Real Betis to find the 2-2. And that is why I was happy, because before, like I've said, Barcelona, like if this was the 2019, 2020, 2021 Barcelona, we probably would have tied this game or probably would have lost this game. But because we have more time under Xavi, because mentally we're much more prepared, I was like, okay, how are we going to react to this intense moment? And Barcelona, they have gotten the A+. They have succeeded. They have said, you know, even though we have this own goal, this is not going to take away our confidence in this game. We're going to come out with the 3 points no matter what. And even though I saw players like Pedri, Koundé, Gavi so tired in this match, they still gave it their all. And that's the only thing I do ask for from these players. So that's it, right? We have defeated Pellegrini's Real Betis at their home. Our next game is going to be against Sevilla, another very tough match. Yes, I know that Sevilla have not been in their best state, but it's, you know, it's Sevilla. Sevilla always likes to come out every time they're facing FC Barcelona. So thank you, Xavi, for everything that you have been doing so far in this season. You have given Barcelona the best start in their season compared to these past 7 to 8 years, right? Way better than Koeman's start, way better than Quique Setien's start, way better than any other coach we have had before in the past, like, again, 6 to 7 years. Xavi has given us the best start ever. We could not ask for something better. And let's continue to excel in La Liga. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you guys in the next video.